Hello everyone, I'm back again, and today I'm going to start the first video of the Laravel and Vue.js full stack development series. And this video is really important for everyone, mostly the beginners. So you have to understand the basic setup of Laravel and Vue.js. So yeah, you have to stay and have to watch all the till the end of this video, because this if you do not understand how this whole setup works, then it's going to be really hard for you, because coding is much easier than the setup. So you have to stick and watch till to the end. Okay, so let's get started. So for who use Mac, then can use Valet, and if you use Windows for installation Laravel, you can use Laragon, which is really one of the cool software available for installing Laravel and starting the Laravel project quickly. So yeah, you can download Laragon actually. So you can if you are using a Windows, you can use this Laragon software, and if you are using Mac, I suggest you use Valet. Okay, so let's get started, and I will install a fresh Laravel new, let's call it full stack. Okay, so yeah, this is not the directory, so I have to install it in the Laravel folder. I just forgot I had a setup inside here, so I have to run the command here. It will take some time to download. Okay, that's awesome, and let's see what we have. And full stack, we have the project installed here. Okay. Laravel itself is a great framework, and it has a lot of features and a lot of codes. We are not going to learn all those, but I will be focusing on the things that you really need to know in order to develop any application, because you don't need to know everything to start. So yeah, let's get started. So mostly you will be working with under app folder, and here you see console exception HTTP provider. So you can forget this console exception and provider. So all you need this HTTP folder, and then you need these external files. These are called models, and you need we will need a middleware. We will have build a custom middleware, but it's not so early. We will develop it later, and most of the time you will be working under controller folder. Okay, so all you need here is app, and then under HTTP, and then you need to work with models, and model lives just under the app folder. Okay, and then we will require these routes, and we have 3 routes, API for API development, but we will require only web.php file. We have a basic route set up here. I will explain what this route mean and how the Laravel works all together. Perfect. So, and then we have another folder which is resources, and we will have views, so we will need this folder. So, and then we will work under JS. Okay, so most of our code will be living under JS, and then there is some code under Vue. Okay, that's all you need. Okay, so now let's see, and let's run our project, and our project name was full stack, and then I have to add localhost. Okay, so you see the project has been run, and I can see the first page of the Laravel. Now let me show you how all this works all together. And okay, now see, Laravel is a MVC framework. Let's see how it handles user request and serve the content, the I mean the HTML. Okay, so when user visit a test, when a user visit, let's say test.localhost, in our case it's a fullstack.localhost, and then visit any page, what it does, it then loads the web.php file and try to find a match. Okay, so yeah, and then if it cannot find any match, then it returns 404. So let's say we run something which doesn't exist. It says 404 because in here we have only this initial route. We don't have any other than this. Okay, so that is what it is showing us. Let's say we have a test page route here instead of that things, and if we run this test page, we will see this one. But let's say we don't have any route, but we try to call it, it will give our 404 error. Perfect. So yeah, let's see if a match found, then we then call a controller class and another method. Normally we just return from here, but in normal cases we will pass the request to the controller and a method. I will let me show you how this all works together. So yeah, you have to create a controller, and to create a controller under app http and controller, we have to write this command: php annotation make controller. Let's say test controller. Perfect. So we have a controller created, test controller. So here you mean we then call a controller. Controller is a class obviously, and then a method of it. So yeah, normally you will be calling like that. Let's have a route here. Okay, this is one way of calling a route and just returning with a closer function. This is a closer function and it's just returning. But we can have a route like this, new routes, and then we will call the controller class. That is what it was written there. And then it says, okay, controller class, call a controller class and then a method of it. Okay, then we have to call our methods. First we have to call the class and then we have to call a method. Okay, so new, okay, we can name it as a controller method. That's all. And let's say we have to define it here as public function. And then you saw we have returned from here, but we can return the same thing from here as well. So if you call this new route now, okay, test controller invalid route exception app. Okay, let's see what I have. Unexpected value exception. Okay, sorry, this is not how it works. I have just messed it up with Node.js project. So I was doing Node.js development a while ago, so it's stuck on my brain. Okay, that is how you actually call a method, not a dot. You have to write add the right sign. So yeah, for you need to call the class name and then a method of it. So that is then this code will be executed. Perfect. So if the match is found, obviously the match has been found, then we then call a controller. Yes, it's a class, and then we call a method. You saw it, right? So that's it. And then yeah, the controller then return a view. It can return a view, it can be a blade file, and the serve as a content. So you see it return view then welcome. And what does actually mean? It means that it will go under resource folder and it will go under views folder, and you see the name is welcome.blade.php. You can ignore this blade.php file, blade.php part, and just concentrate on welcome name. Okay, so this name has to match with welcome, and if you change that name you will get an error because there is no views exist with that name. So here we will get an error. Exactly, we got an error. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I hope you now know how this this is a very basic normal Laravel setup. And you know the Laravel, this is how it works. Your request first come to the web.php file. It tries to find a match against the URL you send, and if it doesn't, it will return 404 errors, and if it does, it can return right like this. Or you can call a controller like this, and you can write your custom code here. You can write anything, any code here. Actually it will be any code like that, any code here, and then after you can send some data with it as well. Okay, I will show you each and everything as we go ahead. And yeah, this video will be longer because I decided to make it a little bit longer and complete the whole setup instead of making part by part. It's actually a little bit annoying. I don't know for you guys, but it is a little bit annoying for me. So I'm trying to cover almost everything in this video. Okay, that's great. Now you have seen how the normal basic Laravel setup works. Now we will see how, okay, if we add Vue.js into it, how this works. Okay, now let me install the Vue.js first, because we don't have a Vue.js normally default install. If you see the package.json, we will see we have an Axios, Laravel Mix, and those dependencies actually installed. and then we have a running script here written. So yeah, we have to install our Vue.js. So let's call npm install first, so that it install all the existing dependencies. Perfect, it installed everything. Now we will install Vue.js. Okay, npm install Vue. So here's the main concept comes in, because you would seen something really easy. You see the dependency, the Vue has been installed here. So that's perfect, and this is not so much big deal to understand, because it's simple. Now if I open our welcome.lead.php file, you see the default things here. So we can simply remove this style from here, and we can also remove the internal body stuff here. That is also fine, and we can remove this font section as well. We can say full stack without. Okay, we don't have controller method return welcome, and we don't have actually anything in the body. That's why we are seeing empty. So let's make an h1 tag. This is the body. Perfect. So the welcome blade is running. Now let's see how we can integrate Vue into it. So here, now let's check out when we add a Vue.js in Laravel, how it works from user request to serving content. So when user visit our page, let's say it's again a test page, so it will try to load web.php file as before and trying to find a match, and if a match is found, it calls a method of a controller, which is perfect and exactly same as before. And then here we normally, what we do is we normally just return the data, okay, as a JSON data. That's all we do. Okay, we don't do much things here. So for example, if we have Vue installed and if matches, so instead of returning a like this, we will return something like this: return response JSON. So you have to understand it when to return what. So let's say message is we should return only JSON. Okay, now instead of returning a blade file, we just return a JSON data. Okay, so in that case we will always return a JSON data. Okay, perfect. So if match is found, because you see this is the route name is new, and if we see we have a match here, so we call a controller's method here, and then we return a JSON data. Perfect. This is the flow. And in case if the match is not found, let's say we have written anything here, instead of new we written anything, we will get an error, 404, because nothing has matched. So if no match found, in order to avoid showing 404, we will actually send a welcome blade in this case. Okay, so a little bit different from the first setup. So yeah, it then uses par route, which is known as any route in Laravel. So let's see how spar route actually works. Okay, so let me show you. So here, let's say the match is not there. Maybe in here we have hundreds of routes and no match found. So that means we are showing we are telling our Laravel that, okay, don't give me any data, just give me the Vue page or Vue whatever related to Vue. Okay, so this is how we write any route any, and you can actually pass anything as a slug, and then you can simply call a function like this, or you can call something like that. It's completely up to you. okay, then you can just simply return this one. Okay, so whatever you write now, it will always return this one. Okay, so this is the key. You have to understand these things. No matter what you pass, if it doesn't match, it will always return your welcome. Yeah, it's a little bit insecure right now. You have to make the slug the way you want. Right now it accepts everything. If you want to accept a special character, you will write where condition, and you will do some preg match so that you can make it secure. But I'm not doing right now. You will be able to find a lot of sample code out there. Okay, perfect. So what if no match is found, we just use this any route, and then what we do, let's see. Okay, any route, then call a controller's method. So yeah, here I did not call a controller method, but I can call a controller method here and pass something here and then return the view. Same thing. Yeah, here you see the method returns a view. So this is the view, and in our case it's welcome.blade.php file. So yeah, I hope you understand it right now. And this is one of the most important part you have to understand, because now we have returned welcome.blade. This is the welcome.blade.php file, and we have to load our Vue.js right on that page to work for us. Okay, in welcome.blade.php file, we then load Vue.js component, and this Vue component then load Vue routers. And then this Vue router actually tries to find a match again for a test route. Vue router then load a Vue component. So that is how it works from start to end. Now let me show you all the process here. Okay, I showed you any route, and then the method returns a view. Perfect. I showed up to that part. Now we will see this 4 part. Okay, and I will show you how this 4 part works. So you have to remember. If you don't remember it, you will get stuck. So you can take screenshot of this screen. I have prepared it, and let's see how it will works together. Okay, the method returns a view, in our case welcome.php file. So perfect. Here now we have to load Vue.js in this file. Okay, so it says in welcome.blade.php file, we then load Vue.js component. Now let's see how we can load the Vue.js file. Okay, let's start from here. Okay, let me show you another presentation. Okay, you see Vue entry point in Laravel is resources.js app.js. Okay, so we have to understand the entry point for Vue.js. Okay, so the entry point start from resources.js and app.js. Here our entry point starts. Okay, so we have to first load the view here. So let's load the view here. Because it's currently loading this bootstrap file, which is this one, and this one is just adding a Lodash library for easy not a Vue.js, just JavaScript functions. You can use a lot of cool functions using Lodash, and then here you can have an Axios, and that's the simple stuff. Okay, that's useful. Okay, now let's load the Vue.js file here. Window.view, and then we will require actually view here, and then we need to use the view actually. Here the element will be the one we will be using, so we will pass an ID. Okay, let me go back again. And the ID is, you can have anything, so everyone write as app, so let's do it as an app, and give an ID as app. So that one is now whatever you write inside this div will be Vue.js will be able to execute its code. If you write anything outside of this div, Vue.js will not be able to control that. Okay, now that's perfect for now. we have to load a component first. Okay, so that is what it says. Okay, it says the view entry point js app.js file. So this is the entry point, and then here you say you saw that we have to load a Vue.js component. Okay, so first of all, before loading a Vue.js component, we have to define a Vue.js component, right? So if we do not define a Vue.js component, how can we use that actually, right? So let's go ahead and create a component. So how do we create a component actually? A component is just a Vue.js file, that's all. If you do not know what is a component, just forget it. I will show you. So let's make a new folder under JS folder, components dot view. That's perfect. And then we can have a name, main app.view. So this is our component. Okay, main app.view is a component. Now let's see how you write it. You have to write template first and a root div. That's all. And this is the component. Okay, this is the first component. Perfect. Now we have created a component. Now we need to add that component in our entry point. Okay, because this is where everything will be loaded. So just import that. And you can give a name to the component. It can be anything, so let's call it just main app. It's much easier for us to remember. And we will require the component, and component location is under component folder. Sorry, it should not be a view, it's just a folder. So component, and then our component name is main app.view, and it will be the default component. Okay, let me know how to write this default. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, now we have the component written. Now let's load this component as it's written here. In welcome.php file, we then load a Vue.js component, and in that case, our component is main app. So let's load it here, and you have to load it inside your definition. So here in that case, it is app. Perfect. Now it's loaded. So what it will happen if you write anything, and if it match here, it will just return data. It will return welcome.blade.php file, and it will actually load this component. Okay, so here that is why we have a slug here. If the route does not return any data, then it must return the Vue file. So how we load a Vue file? We load a Vue file under this welcome.blade.php file. Okay, it works as an index.html file, the main entry loader point. Perfect. So yeah, we cannot get the result right now because we have to run a command. So we have to run we have to watch the changes. So npm run watch, and it will not work either. Okay, let me show you why it will not work. Let's complete this flow. So in order to complete this flow, we have to know this third flow as well. So this is the entry point, and it loads the Vue routes, stores everything related to Vue. Obviously I have not shown you the Vue router, Vuex and everything, but this is right now it's completely useless because you will not have anything, because this file is completely useless. Okay, even whatever I have written here is useless because the application doesn't know what this template means, what this main app.view mean. We have to compile it. Okay, we have to compile everything whatever have been written in app.js, then main app.view, everything. Okay, whatever the Vue.js.view file we write, we have to convert it to plain JavaScript code. Okay, so let's see how all these things works. So this flow is right now we cannot go ahead with this flow. So what we have to do, we have to know see how all of our Vue file works and how Vue code becomes available in our project. Okay, right now Vue.js project is not available at all. If I simply run this project, we will see nothing and might get errors. You see, we get nothing here because it's not working. Clearly it's not working. So how we can make the Vue.js code working? So first entry point is this one, app.js, when we worked on it, and it loads the Vue routes, everything. Okay, it loaded, but it's not available in our projects. Okay, all those Vue files are just useless, but with webpack.mix.js file it becomes useful. Now here interesting part is that we get webpack.mix.js file. Now let's see what this webpack.mix.js file does. Okay, so here is a webpack.mix.js file, and you can see some instruction. If you want to more, just go to the Laravel website and write Laravel mix, webpack mix. You will get a lot of information. Here you see it's saying, let me just explain in plain words to you so that you understand it much better. So it says JavaScript, go to resource folder. Okay, I'm going to resource folder, and then it's saying go to just JS folder. Okay, I'm going JS folder, and then it says go to app.js file. Okay, I'm here. Okay, and then it says take all those codes and put them inside a public folder and JS folder. Okay, and by default it will name as app.js. So what it's saying take all the code, Vue code, resources, JS, app.js, and put that under public JS and app.js file. Okay, so that is where the app.js file has been put. Now if I show you, if I delete this file, let's say I delete it. Okay, we don't have any public JS folder in under public. Okay, simply public, then no JS file, nothing. Okay, now let's see our webpack, what our webpack says. Webpack says we can remove that one. No, it doesn't matter. Says take all the files code from resources JS app.js file to a new folder, public JS folder. Okay, that's perfect, and that is why I said everything is useless in here. But with using webpack, we take all those Vue code, and then we compile them and make it plain JavaScript code, and that is the whole project. Let's see. So but with the webpack.mix.js file it become useful, and you really have to understand it. So webpack.mix.js file take all the Vue code from resources JS app.js file and compile all the code into a new file called app.js under public JS app.js file. But this happen only when you run npm commands such as npm run watch or dev or production. So let's run a command. Okay, and I did run that command, that is why it was available. So if I show you here, here we don't have any JavaScript folder, JS folder or app.js file, nothing under public. If you run npm run watch or dev or production, as in the file I showed you, what it will do, it will create a folder here and then app.js file. Let's see it live. You see, JS file is available, and then app.js file. Perfect. So npm run watch, if you run npm run watch, this code will be in development mode, but if you run it npm run production, it will be a production mode. Okay, so it will be like compressed, and yeah, it will be minified, and everything that required for a production will be available here. So you see, even if you delete this file, it will come back again. You understand? Perfect. So what let me recap once again is that whatever we have written under resources JS and component blah blah blah, you can have lots of components file here. Okay, all of them are just useless for the time being. So if you write a lot of codes here, this code will have to be compiled to plain JavaScript code. Okay, browser understand this plain JS code. Okay, browser do not understand what you have written here. it doesn't understand template, it doesn't understand script or whatever you write here. It doesn't understand anything. Okay, so it does only understand this plain JavaScript code. Okay, so now since we have a plain JavaScript code available, let's see what we have to do next. Okay, now this newly generated app.js file from public.js folder is the whole Vue projects. Perfect. So this JavaScript file is actually everything. Whatever you have written as a Vue code will have to be compiled to the plain JavaScript code, and that is your project. Okay, and you can delete everything else and keep this one app.js file, and it will work. Okay, even if you upload your project into a server, and if you do not upload your resources folder at all, if you simply delete this resources folder after running npm run watch or dev or production, you will get a new code inside app.js file that will be alone everything, and you do not have to upload anything here, because this code is not readable by the browser. So yeah, it doesn't have any effect. But you do need this file folder to make newer code, or you may need to write new codes for your project. Okay, without them your project will be gone. Okay, so you have to keep that file as well. Okay, now this is why we have to link this public.js app.js file in our welcome.plate.php file to load the whole Vue project. So you got the point now. So in order to load Vue component or Vue router, whatever we have here, we have to load the JavaScript file that is known as the whole Vue project, and inside the Vue project we have the Vue component. So in order to load the Vue component here, we have to load this file. Okay, we have to load the Vue project. So what is the Vue project? The Vue project is simply this file. Okay, so let's load the Vue project. So here you go, and we just load the Vue project file, script, not this script actually, and then we write the source of it as source. It can be written in many ways. One of the cool way is using mix, because it can have a version. I will show you the version number. So where your file lives under public folder. By default, if you write slash, it will go under public, then JS, then your app.js file. Okay, this file. So this file has been linked now. Perfect. Now if I see the console here and JS, and if we load this file, let me check that out. Okay. Okay, so my check was wrong. Sorry for that, sometime it happens. Perfect, this is the first component. Congratulations, we was able to load the Vue component and Vue.js into our whole projects. Okay, so let's delete these things again and reload, and you see app.js file. Okay, that's awesome. Perfect, you see this is the Vue project. Okay, this is your Vue project. Perfect, so we have loaded this Vue project, then it will definitely load the Vue component, and it will, okay, now the Vue component is loaded, right? Now we have to show you, let's complete this step, and after that the video will end. Okay, we have to go up to this part. Bear with me because this is super important. Okay, now this Vue component then loads Vue routers. Okay, now let me show you how this will work. We have loaded the Vue component, and we can actually remove these slides because we don't need it. I hope you have understood. Take the screenshots, and I hope it will be fine for you. Now here, this is your Vue component. Whatever you write, blah 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 blah, it will be loaded right here. Perfect, you see it is loaded. So your Vue.js file is perfectly working. You can work with the Vue.js file now. Perfect. Now let's see what step we have to do here. Here we have to use Vue router. So let's see how we can pass Vue router into the game now. So in order to do that, we have to install Vue router. So let's open a new terminal and install Vue router. npm install router. Maybe its name is Vue router or router. I'm not really sure. Let me guess. It will be maybe, yeah, it should be, it should not be router because no one knows what router it is, so it should be Vue router instead. Let's go ahead. Okay, the command was wrong, not nom, it should be npm. Okay, perfect. Vue router is getting installed. Perfect. Now we're installing the Vue.js routing, and then we will use that in the entry point. Remember, the entry point for our project is app.js. This is the entry point, and we have to use the router here. Perfect. Now Vue.js router will have files like this. Not the code syntax is different, but yeah, we will have to have lots of routes. So the best thing is that make a new file for all of our Vue router. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new file, and let's name it router.js. Perfect. So in router.js file, we will have to import Vue from Vue. Then we have to import the router from, obviously, Vue router. Then if it is a plugin, we have to use that, right? So we have to use this router. Okay, that's perfect. Now here it's like this page. Okay, it says, okay, if this is hit, this route or path is hit, please return this Vue file, blade file, Vue blade file. Okay, this exact same concept comes here as well. Okay, so let's make a variable routes, and then it will be an array, obviously, and then this array will have object, and object are same as this one, this 1 item, 2 item, 3 item. So we in JavaScript we will work with object. So path is your location or the routing. So let's say my new Vue route, and let's make it something like this for you to easily understand. Okay, so this is now, okay, we have defined our route. Now we have to tell the Vue.js route that which component it should use. Okay, so we have to define components as, now we have to give some component what it should use. So let's make a new component here and here, and okay, instead of new component you can make it let's make a new folder, and let's call it pages. Okay, it can be a page, and let's name it as my first Vue page.vue, and here in template simply return the Vue. You will have to have a root tag, it can be anything, so in our case it is a div, and we can write an h tag here is that this is our first page. Okay, perfect. Now we have to import that as well. So we have to import, and you can give a name. Let's say name is first page, it can be anything, and it should be imported from components folder, then pages folder, and under pages folder the name is this one. Okay, perfect. Now we will use this component. You see, we are importing this file and naming it first page, and we are using this first page component when user hit this route. Okay, perfect. Now let's check it out. Will that work? No, it will not work. Why it is not working? Because here this Vue component that load Vue router, so we are not loading inside this Vue component. We have to, you see, in welcome.blade.php file we have to load a Vue.js component. Perfect, we did that. How we did that? Let me show you. In welcome.blade.php file we have loaded a Vue component. Okay, perfect. So we loaded a Vue component, and this Vue component then load Vue router. But unfortunately, inside the Vue component, we just have an h1 tag. We do not load any router at all. So how do we load a router? Perfect. So that is one of the most important concept as well. And let's see how we can load the router. You can have this one there, no problem. So in order to load router, we have to use router Vue like this. Okay, perfect. So we have the Vue router now, which means we are implementing this concept, this Vue route component, then load a Vue router. Perfect. Now if I hit this one, router Vue, did you register the component correctly? Okay, it seems there is an error. Router Vue. Okay, it's perfect. So that means we are not using this Vue router. Okay, it's defined here. We are using it here, but you see this file is of no use, simply because why? Because we have written a code in a file and this file is not being used. Okay, so we have to use this file, right? So let me show you how we can use that. So we have written an array of routes, and this array has one object, one route, but we are not actually exporting it. So what we have to do, we have to export the route. So export and default new router, and here we can pass mode, and mode can be history. Perfect. So what does history mean? History will remove the hashtag from your URL, and that's why, and it looks a little bit pretty, and we have to use the routes here. Perfect. And okay, we are now exporting it. Now we need to import that in our main entry point. Okay, if we do not import here, what will happen? If we do not import here, as I told you before, then Webpack will take this file and will publish into the plain Vue.js or plain JavaScript code. Since this Vue router is not available in this page, so it is not being in use. So you have to understand all those basics concepts. Okay, now here let's import our JavaScript router code. Okay, this is our JavaScript router code. Let's import that. Import router, you can give any name, router from router. Perfect. Now we have to pass that as well here as router. Perfect. So we are using that router here, and the Vue instance is declared with the element and the router. In next, if in future we might have store, we might have translation files, we can have anything, so we have to define it there as well. So I really hope it works now. Perfect, it's live, and you can see this is our first page and the first component is getting loaded, which is super duper cool. Yeah, I'm really excited, and you can remove that one, doesn't really matter. Okay, no, it's our page, you can remove from here, it doesn't really matter at all. So we will get only the page. Okay, but yeah, if you want to have a static menu that that will stay unchanged when you move different pages, you can define your component or code for menu here. Okay, that will be kept fixed, so we can keep that here. So yeah, I can write it as a menu, which will be always available in all the pages menu. Now let's make a new router here. So how do we make a new router? We make a new router here, new route. Perfect. Name route. So we don't have any component like that, so we have to define that new route. You can name it new route page, and you can write it as new route page, and we do not have it created here, so let's go ahead and create that file. Perfect. Okay, so this is the second new Vue page. Perfect, so all is working fine. We can load that file now. Okay, we are getting an error, seems it's not executing, so we are getting this error in here. Let's check that out. Okay, we are using unnecessarily this one because it is not an object. Okay, sorry, my bad. Perfect, you see this one is loaded and menu is also available, and if you go back, the menu is available in other page as well. Okay, so what we have created, we have a complete Vue.js and Laravel setup, which the Laravel loads the Vue.js and Laravel can have the routing here, their own routing. Okay, so let me recap once more again. First of all, if you visit any page, it will try to go ahead and find out the match in web.php file, and if it doesn't find any match, it will execute the spar route, which is known as any route, and it will return the welcome blade, and then the welcome blade will load a Vue component. Perfect, and this Vue component will then load the Vue router, and then the Vue router will try to find a match for the route you have here. If it find a match, it will show you that component. If it doesn't, it will show exactly nothing. Perfect, you see, nothing. You don't have any page. So you can have a 404 error page here, and then you can return in a custom page. Okay, you can do exactly whatever you want to do. So yeah, once more again, is that in webpack mix.js file, the important is that we have to take all this code in public.js, and your whole project is this file. This is your whole Vue.js project. Got it? If you do Vue page source, and if you click here, you will see including this menu. If I do a quick little search here, we'll be able to find the menu code here. You see, this is the menu. So let me show you one more interesting things here. This menu is under what? Definitely h1 tag. Yeah, h1 tag, you see, and this is how the Vue.js is rendering your menu. You see, return C div h1. Okay, you see, perfect. And then after that we have a Vue router. Yeah, Vue router. So that means whatever you write it here, Vue engine then compile it to a code like this, which is readable and understandable by the browser. Hope you got it. Thank you for watching this video up to this till now. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe my channel. And one more important message is to give you is that you will be able to post any question regarding this series or any other series in our Facebook group, development with Epify Lab. Yeah, here in this group. So you can add any question you have and join this group, and you can publish any comments here or question here. We will try to solve your questions. Okay, thank you guys, thank you for watching. Please support this channel, and we will be making lots of cool videos. Hopefully you will like it, and let me know how we can explain a little better, and we can make better explanation or make better videos. Okay, we are new, we're trying to help you, and stay home, stay safe. God bless you. Bye.